For most of my career as an exobiologist, I believed that first contact would be humanity's greatest achievement. I believed we would be the students, humble before ancient galactic wisdom. I imagined beings who had crossed the stars would possess knowledge that would elevate us, transform us, show us our place in a vast and orderly cosmos. I never imagined I would become the captor of a being whose species fears us, not respects us, not envies us, fears us. And when he finally spoke, when he explained why, I understood something terrifying about what we are. This isn't about invasion. It isn't about conquest. It's about recognition. The galaxy has been watching, observing from distances we cannot yet cross, recording our history, analyzing our biology, running simulations of what happens when we finally leave our world and enter theirs. And they've seen enough to know, we are what nightmares dream of. What he revealed to me wasn't a warning about what's coming from space. It was a warning about what we already are. About what we've always been. About the traits we consider normal that make civilizations millions of years older than ours classify us as Code Crimson. Extreme hazard species. Observe only. No contact. No engagement. No provocation under any circumstances. I thought I was studying him. But he came to study us. And what he told me in the 73 hours before his departure changed everything I thought I understood about humanity's place in the universe. If you want to see more stories that reveal hidden truths about humanity's place in the cosmos, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any important revelations. My name is Dr. Sarah Chen. I'm 47 years old. For the last 23 years, I've worked as an exobiologist at a classified government research facility that officially doesn't exist. The location doesn't matter. What matters is that when something not from Earth arrives, we're the ones who analyze it. My life is objectively successful. Senior position. Respect from peers. Financial security. But subjectively, it's been hollow for years. Divorced 3 years ago. My ex-husband used to say I loved my work more than I loved him. He wasn't wrong. My daughter Emily, 22 years old, lives in Seattle. We text occasionally. Birthdays. Holidays. Safe topics. Nothing real. Nothing vulnerable. I never meant for my life to become this. Functional but empty. Professional but isolated. Successful but alone. But I had a reason. A purpose that justified every sacrifice. Every missed dinner. Every failed relationship. Every year of waiting. I believed that if we made contact, if we finally discovered we weren't alone in the universe, everything would make sense. The isolation would be worth it. The sacrifices justified. I would be there. I would be one of the first humans to communicate with something from beyond our world. For 23 years, I waited. Analyzed meteorite samples. Studied extremophile bacteria. Built protocols for hypothetical scenarios. And waited. Then, 12 days ago, something changed. A probe. Not ours. Recovered from the Pacific Ocean after radar systems detected an impossible descent pattern. No heat signature. No propulsion trail. Just a controlled descent that defied every law of physics we understand. Inside the probe, a being. Alive. For the first 6 days, he remained completely still. Vital signs present but minimal. Breathing at a rate of 3 breaths per minute. Heart rate equivalent of 12 beats per minute. Body temperature 94 degrees Fahrenheit. Alive, but not responsive. We tried everything. Audio communication. Visual signals. Chemical analysis of atmosphere composition in case he needed different air mixture. Nothing worked. I spent 18 to 20 hours a day in the observation room. Others took shifts. I couldn't sleep anyway. Insomnia that had plagued me for 3 weeks before his arrival, growing worse each day. Sleeping 4 hours, then 3, then 2. My body exhausted but my mind refusing to shut down. Day 7, 2 o'clock in the morning. I was alone in the observation room. My choice. Others thought I was obsessive. They were right. I sat there staring at him through the triple-reinforced transparent barrier. Reviewing biological scans for the 1000th time. searching for something I'd missed. Some explanation for why he wouldn't communicate. And in frustration, exhaustion, accumulated desperation, I whispered to the empty room. Why won't you communicate? You came all this way. What do you want? That's when everything changed. The temperature dropped. 3 degrees in 30 seconds. Monitored, documented, no environmental system malfunction to explain it. Then his eyes opened. Not gradually. Completely. Fully aware. And he wasn't looking at the cameras. Not at the observation equipment. Not at the armed guard stationed outside the containment chamber. He was looking directly at me. I felt pressure in my head. Not painful, but present. Like atmospheric pressure changing before a storm. A sensation of presence that wasn't physical but was undeniably real. Then a voice. Not heard through my ears, but known directly in my mind. Dr. Sarah Chen. I will communicate now because you asked the correct question. I should have panicked. Should have called for security. Should have documented the moment with clinical detachment. Instead, I responded verbally, instinctively. You can understand me. I have understood you since I arrived. I chose not to communicate because I was afraid. And I needed time to observe before attempting contact. Afraid? You're the prisoner here. His eyes conveyed something I didn't expect to see from an advanced extraterrestrial intelligence. Pity. Dr. Chen, I am designation 7 Theta 9, xenobiological observer for the Galactic Concordance. I have studied 47 species across 23 star systems over the equivalent of 140 of your years. I volunteered for this assignment because I needed to know if the observations were accurate. If what we've witnessed from safe distance is truly what you are. He paused. The pressure in my mind intensified slightly. And now, having seen you closely, having spent 6 days in proximity to your species, I can confirm, the galaxy's fear is justified. You are the most terrifying species in known space. I processed that. My rational, scientific mind cataloging impossibilities. Telepathy. Confirmed extraterrestrial intelligence. Claims of galactic civilization. And the central assertion. Advanced aliens afraid of us. Terrifying? We've never even left our solar system in person. You crossed light years. You have technology we can only imagine. How could we possibly terrify anyone? That is precisely what I came to explain. And I have 73 hours before my absence is noted and intervention protocols begin. In that time, I will show you what the Concordance sees when it observes Earth. And then you will understand why we classified you as Code Crimson, extreme hazard species. Observation only. No contact. No engagement. No provocation under any circumstances. I stood up, moved closer to the barrier. My scientific training warring with the impossibility of the situation. Code Crimson? There are only 3,000 of us in this facility. Maybe 8 billion total on the planet. You have faster-than-light travel. Ships. Weapons we can't comprehend. What could we possibly? Dr. Chen, you are asking the wrong scale question. It is not about your current numbers or your current technology. It is about what each individual human represents. You are Deathworlders who do not know you are Deathworlders. You are apex persistence predators with oversized problem-solving brains operating under the delusion that you are weak. And that combination makes you exponentially more dangerous than species with 10 times your technological advancement. The screen in the observation room suddenly activated. I hadn't touched any controls. No one else was in the room. I will show you through your own records. Through your own history. Let us begin with something you call persistence hunting. On my world, we have a name for what you do. We call it the slow death that never stops. The screen displayed footage I recognized. Documentary footage of the San people in the Kalahari Desert. Ancient hunting technique preserved into the modern era. And 7 Theta 9 began to explain exactly why the galaxy fears us. The Galactic Concordance classifies all inhabited worlds on a habitability scale. 7 Theta 9 conveyed, his telepathic voice maintaining that clinical, almost academic tone. Class 1 designation, Paradise Worlds. Stable climate, minimal geological activity, no large predators, disease burden close to zero. Gentle environments where evolution proceeds slowly, predictably. Most sapient species evolved on Class 1 through Class 3 worlds. The screen shifted, showing images I didn't recognize. Alien worlds. Beautiful, serene landscapes. Peaceful oceans. Gentle forests. Earth is classified as Class 12 Death World. The screen changed to Earth imagery. Hurricanes photographed from space. Earthquakes collapsing cities. Tsunamis obliterating coastlines. Volcanic eruptions. Tornadoes. Wildfires consuming forests. Out of 1,847 catalogued inhabited worlds in concordance records, only 4 are Class 12 or higher. And of those 4 death worlds, you are the only species to achieve sapience, technology, and civilization. The other 3 produced simple life that went extinct during routine planetary catastrophes. I watched the screen. Images of Earth's predators. Lions taking down buffalo. Saltwater crocodiles, prehistoric in their lethality. Great white sharks. Grizzly bears. King cobras. Box jellyfish. Funnel web spiders. On my homeworld, 7 Theta 9 continued, temperature variance is 15 degrees across the entire year, across the entire planet. You have variance of over 250 degrees Fahrenheit depending on location and season. We have no hurricanes. Our worst storm system is equivalent to what you call a breezy day. Our largest predator is the size of your house cat. Herbivorous. Extinct for 2 million years. The clinical nature of his assessment made it more disturbing, not less. You're saying Earth itself is hostile. Hostile is insufficient terminology. Earth is a continuous extinction-level event that somehow never completes extinction. Your planet has survived 5 mass extinctions. The most recent, 66 million years ago, eliminated 75% of all species. Yet life persisted, adapted, evolved. And you, humans, are the result of this relentless culling. New images appeared. The East African Rift Valley, cradle of humanity. Your species evolved here. One of the most dangerous environments on your already dangerous world. Extreme temperature swings. Volcanic activity. Predators at every trophic level. Diseases transmitted by hundreds of vectors. Limited freshwater resources. Seasonal droughts and floods. He paused, and I felt something shift in the telepathic connection. Not emotion exactly, but emphasis. And instead of retreating to safer environments once you developed the capability, you spread to even more hostile ones. Antarctica, Siberia, Sahara Desert interior, Arctic tundra, Death Valley. You colonized everywhere, including places that actively kill unprepared humans within hours. This is not normal colonization behavior. This is pathological expansion into danger. We're adaptable. That's evolution. No, Dr. Chen. Most species adapt by avoiding danger. You adapt by conquering it. And this created evolutionary pressure that forged you into something that doesn't exist elsewhere in known space. Apex persistence predators with oversized problem-solving brains, complex social structures, and complete disregard for your own physical limitations. The screen showed a graph. Evolutionary timeline. Brain size development in hominids over millions of years. Death worlds create 2 outcomes. Extinction or monsters. You are the latter. And what makes you most dangerous is that you don't recognize it. You think you're weak because you compare yourselves to each other. But compared to galactic standard, you are terrifying. I wanted to argue. Wanted to defend humanity as collaborative, peaceful, capable of beauty and art and love. But he wasn't finished. Now I show you why my species has nightmares about yours. The screen shifted to documentary footage I recognized immediately. San hunters in the Kalahari. A hunting party identifying tracks. Beginning their pursuit of a kudu antelope. Observe closely, 7 Theta 9 instructed. This is the behavior that made the concordance classify you as horror beyond conventional predator models. The footage showed the kudu, a large antelope, grazing peacefully. The human hunters approached, not stealthily but openly. The kudu spotted them immediately. The prey is faster than the predators, stronger, has superior senses. By all logical calculation, the humans cannot catch it. The kudu bolted, escaped easily, reaching speeds the human hunters couldn't match. The footage showed the hunters not sprinting in pursuit but jogging. A sustainable pace. Not trying to catch the antelope immediately. Watch what happens next. Timestamps on the footage. 1 hour passed. The hunters tracked the kudu, following at that same steady pace. The antelope had run far ahead, stopped to rest, believing it had escaped. Then the humans appeared again. Still jogging. Still coming. The kudu fled again. From the prey's perspective, 7 θ9 conveyed, and for the first time I detected something in his telepathic voice that might have been horror. This is a waking nightmare. You are faster. You escape. But the predator doesn't stop. Never stops. You run until exhaustion, but it's still coming. You hide. It tracks you. You rest. It doesn't. Every time you think you've escaped, it appears again. The footage continued. 2 hours. 3 hours. 4 hours. The kudu's movements becoming sluggish. 5 hours. 6 hours. The antelope stumbling, overheating, its superior speed meaningless against the relentless pursuit. Finally, the kudu collapsed. Exhausted. Unable to run anymore. The human hunter walked up calmly. No rush. No urgency. And killed it with a spear. 6 hours, 7 θ9 stated. The average persistence hunt duration. The prey doesn't die from injury. It dies from exhaustion. From being pursued until its body fails. This is biological terror. The screen changed to anatomical diagrams. Human musculoskeletal system. Your species is uniquely adapted for this. You are the only primates, possibly the only large mammal on your planet, with a bipedal running efficiency that allows energy conservation over extreme distances, advanced sweat cooling system. Most species overheat and must stop, Achilles tendon spring storage mechanism, superior heat dissipation through hairless skin, ability to run 100 miles or more without stopping. No other sapient species in the concordance can do this. Its biological terror specifically evolved on your death world. I found my voice. But that's ancient history. We don't hunt like that anymore. We have agriculture, grocery stores. Dr. Chen, you profoundly misunderstand. The biology remains active in every human. But more critically, the psychology remains. This same trait, relentless pursuit until target collapses, applies to everything you do. The screen erupted into a montage of modern applications. Thomas Edison, photographed in his laboratory. Caption: 10,000 failed attempts before successful light bulb. Apollo 13 mission control. The famous quote, "Failure is not an option." Medical research laboratories. Decades of trials before polio vaccine success. Ultramarathon footage. Humans running 100, 150, 200 miles. Military operations. Manhunts lasting years. Osama bin Laden. Pursuit. 10 years. You are a species that does not accept defeat. 7 θ9 stated with clinical finality. You will pursue a goal until it is achieved or you are dead. And often, even death doesn't stop you because others continue the pursuit. You pass the obsession to the next generation. This is not rational behavior. This is terrifying behavior. Because it cannot be stopped by logic. You cannot negotiate with a persistence predator. You cannot reason with it. You cannot make it quit. It will keep coming. Forever. Until it wins or ceases to exist. That's just determination. Perseverance. From inside your species, it feels like virtue. From outside, it looks like an evolutionary weapon no other species possesses. You are the terminators of galactic biology. And you don't even know it. I felt a chill despite the controlled temperature of the observation room. And this trait manifests in ways you don't recognize. Your scientific method, test hypothesis, fail, adjust, test again, repeat 10,000 times until success. Your space exploration, Apollo 1 crew dies in fire, you don't quit, you go to moon anyway. Your medical advancement, thousands of failed attempts, dead ends, wasted decades, but you never stop until cure is found. Most species abandon pursuits after reasonable attempt count. You don't have an abandonment threshold. You just keep going. The screen went dark for a moment. Then new footage appeared. But that trait, as terrifying as it is not what made the concordance classify you as Code Crimson. What made us fear you is the next behavioral pattern. The one that makes you completely unpredictable. Now we address the anomaly that makes you impossible to model in any predictive framework, your bonding pathology. I frowned. Bonding is pathological. For you, yes. Most species bond within genetic parameters. Same species, maybe same genus in rare cases. You bond with everything. The screen showed footage of wolves in the wild. Apex predators, dangerous, territorial. 30,000 years ago, your ancestors encountered these. Wolves. Competed with them for food, for territory. Wolves killed humans. Humans killed wolves. Standard predator competition. The image shifted to ancient cave paintings. Humans and wolves together. Then to modern imagery. Dogs. Hundreds of breeds. You took a predator that competed with you for survival and decided, I will make this my friend. You selectively bred them into 400+ varieties for different purposes. Companionship. Hunting partners. Protection. Emotional support. And now, you love them. Grieve when they die. Consider them family members. No other species does this. No other sapient species in the concordance has ever domesticated a competing predator species. It's insane. The screen changed. Montage of humans with dangerous animals. Tigers kept as pets. Bears raised by humans. Venomous snakes handled lovingly. Great white sharks being cuddled by researchers. Chimpanzees, capable of horrific violence, treated as children. You see an organism evolve to kill you, and your response is, I will love it. This is pathological empathy, and it extends beyond living things. New footage. Mars rovers. Spirit and opportunity. News reports of global mourning when they stopped functioning. You grieve machines. You name them. Hold memorial services when they cease operation. You anthropomorphize rocks you send to other planets. Montage expanded. Ships named and christened. Cars given personalities. Weapons named and decorated. Roombas mourned. Stuffed animals treasured for decades. You form emotional attachments to objects, to ideas, to fictional characters that never existed. Footage of people crying at movies, at books, memorial services for fictional characters. You mourn entities that are not real. This is a level of emotional projection that has no equivalent in concordance psychology. We cannot model it, cannot predict it, cannot understand the mechanism. I wanted to defend it, but he continued. And this creates strategic impossibility. Most species protect their own. Kin selection. Basic evolutionary logic. You protect anything you've bonded with. The screen showed documented cases. Humans rescuing animals from floods, fires, risking death for strangers' pets. Firefighters staying with burning buildings to save trapped animals. Soldiers refusing to leave wounded comrades even when tactically suicidal. Civilians jumping in front of trains to save strangers. You will sacrifice yourselves for other species. Younger machines you've anthropomorphized abstract concepts like freedom or honor, are complete strangers you've never met or ideas you believe in. This is not logical. This is beautiful and horrifying simultaneously. 7 Theta, 9's telepathic voice carried something I hadn't heard before. Almost like wonder. Your compassion makes you unpredictable. We can model logic. We can predict self-interest. We cannot model when a human will suddenly decide something is worth dying for based on emotional attachment formed in seconds. Example, human soldier in combat. Logical action when outnumbered. Retreat, preserve life, regroup. But if that soldier has bonded with unit, logic fails. They'll fight to death defending companions. Not because it's smart. Because they love them. You're saying our capacity for love makes us dangerous. I'm saying your capacity to love anything, instantly, irrationally, makes you impossible to predict. And unpredictability in a species with your other traits becomes terrifying. The screen showed military statistics. Concordance war simulations against humans consistently fail because we cannot account for emotion-driven tactical decisions. You make choices that violate survival logic but succeed because the enemy cannot predict irrational love-based sacrifice. He paused, and I sensed weight in the silence. Dr. Chen, you people will pack bond with anything, including, potentially, species that came to conquer you. This makes you either the most dangerous enemies or the most valuable allies. And we cannot predict which you'll be until contact occurs. Hence, Code Crimson. Too dangerous to approach until we understand the activation mechanism for your bonding pathology. And now, 7 Theta 9 continued. The trait that makes your species impossible to contain. Your response to impossibility. Which is? Challenge accepted. The screen came alive with rapid-fire historical footage. 1947. Sound barrier. Your medical experts warned, human body will disintegrate above Mach 1. Physics forbids survival. Footage of Chuck Yeager and the Bell X-1. Human response, I'll try it anyway. Result, broke sound barrier, survived, later described it as smooth as a baby's bottom. What was impossible became routine. New footage, Mount Everest. Black and white images from the 1920s. Impossible to climb. Atmospheric pressure insufficient to sustain human life at peak elevation. Temperature lethal. Avalanche risk extreme. Images of bodies frozen on the mountain. Then triumphant summits. Hundreds died trying. And humans kept climbing. Not for resources. Not for survival advantage. Because it was there. Now, thousands have summit. You turned the impossible into tourism. The montage accelerated. Apollo program. Moon landing. 1960s technology. You strapped humans to controlled explosions, sent them 240,000 miles through radiation-filled vacuum, landed successfully with computers less powerful than your modern phones. Impossible by contemporary technological standards. You did it anyway. Deep sea exploration. Mariana Trench. Crushing pressure that should pulverize human biology. You built submarine, descended to deepest point on Earth, 7 miles down. Impossible. You did it. Nuclear energy. Atom-splitting imagery. Harnessing the sun's power on planetary surface. Incredibly dangerous. Potential to destroy cities. You weaponized it, then turned it into electricity source. Observe the pattern. 7 Theta 9's telepathic voice carried clinical precision. Each time you are told something is impossible or deadly. 1. You attempt it anyway. 2. Many of you die in the attempt. 3. Survivors learn from failures. 4. Eventually you succeed. 5. It becomes routine. 6. You find something more impossible to attempt. This is not cautious exploration. This is deliberate danger-seeking behavior. We call it progress. We call it suicidal overconfidence. But it works. You have achieved in 10,000 years of civilization what most species require 100,000 years to achieve. Your technological advancement curve is exponential because you don't wait for safety. You accept casualties as research cost. New montage. Firsts in human achievement. First flight. First car. First computer. First internet. First cloned mammal. First gene editing. First artificial heart. First brain-computer interface. Every major advancement, initially declared impossible by experts, achieved within decades through thousands of failures you refuse to let stop you. And this creates containment impossibility. From concordance perspective, give humans a problem they cannot solve, they will solve it anyway. Tell them something is forbidden, they will attempt it out of curiosity. Warn them something is lethal, they will test if you're right. You cannot contain a species with this psychology. Containment requires accepting boundaries. You recognize no boundaries. The screen showed space imagery. Voyager probes leaving the solar system. Hubble telescope imagery. Mars rover tracks. You are not even a spacefaring species yet, and you've already sent probes beyond your solar system. You're observing galaxies billions of light-years away. You're planning missions to other star systems despite not having FTL capability. Your species mantra, whether you admit it or not, hold my beer, watch this. For the first time in this entire exchange, I felt something unexpected. Pride. Dangerous, terrifying pride in what we've accomplished. 7 Theta 9 sensed it. Yes, that feeling. That is precisely what makes you Code Crimson. You take pride in defying the impossible. And that pride drives you to attempt progressively more dangerous innovations. The concordance has existed for 4.7 million years. In that time, we have seen species rise and fall. But we have never seen a species with your combination of traits: persistence predator biology, pack bonding pathology, and hold my beer innovation drive. You are unique. And unique in ways that make every predictive model fail. He paused, and I sensed preparation for something heavier. But those traits, as dangerous as they are not what makes military engagement with humans unwinnable. What makes you impossible to defeat is your emotional volatility. Now I explain why concordance military analysts classify human combat as prediction failure, extreme. We don't even have interstellar capability. How could we possibly? Technology is irrelevant when discussing why you are dangerous in combat. Your psychological warfare capacity is what creates the classification. The screen showed historical documentation, ancient texts, medieval artwork, modern combat footage. Throughout your history, across all cultures, you have documented a phenomenon. Warriors entering altered states of consciousness in combat. Vikings called them berserkers. Pacific Islanders had similar traditions. Native American warrior societies. Japanese samurai describing battle trance. Footage of modern research. Adrenaline studies. Human strength under stress conditions. Your adrenal response system allows temporary access to strength you do not normally possess. Documented cases. A mother's lifting automobiles off trapped children, 1,500 pounds, impossible by muscle physiology standards. A soldiers fighting through fatal wounds. Medically should be unconscious. Continue combat for minutes before dying. A survival situations. Aaron Ralston amputated own arm with dull knife to escape trapped boulder. Remained conscious through process. Logical species cannot account for sudden 300% strength increase. But more critically, you enter this state through emotion. Fear, rage, love, grief, all can trigger superhuman performance. The screen showed combat simulations. Concordance military scenarios. Galactic warfare is mathematical. We calculate, species A has X ships, Y weapons, Z soldiers with defined capabilities. Species B has similar parameters. Outcome predictable within 3% margin of error. With humans, calculation fails completely. You have soldiers who refuse to retreat when survival probability reaches 0. Units that fight to last. Individual defending comrades are individuals who self-sacrifice for tactical advantage with no hesitation. A berserker states that break all probability models. Emotional responses that override survival instinct completely. This creates prediction impossibility. Historical example appeared on screen. Battle of Thermopylae. 300 Spartans versus estimated 100,000 to 300,000 Persian forces. Logical outcome: immediate surrender or annihilation in minutes. Actual outcome: held mountain pass for 3 days. Killed thousands of enemies. All 300 died, but delayed Persian advance long enough for Greek city-states to organize defense. From Persian perspective, nightmare. How do you fight an enemy that won't surrender even when defeat is mathematically absolute? 7 Theta 9's telepathic voice carried something almost like frustration. In concordance war simulations against humans, we lose 67% of scenarios despite 2,000-year technological advantage. Not because you are stronger. Because you are unpredictable. Simulated scenario example. Concordance fleet blockades Earth. Logical human response. Negotiate surrender terms. Minimize casualties. Actual simulated human response based on historical behavior patterns. Kamikaze attacks using primitive spacecraft as missiles. Suicide runs destroying capital ships through sheer sacrifice volume. Refusal to surrender even at 99% casualty rates. Result. Concordance withdraws because we cannot sustain fighting an enemy willing to die for spite. The resource cost of defeating a species that won't quit exceeds the value of victory. I felt disturbed by this. You're saying we win through suicidal determination. I'm saying you win because you do not calculate cost the way logical species do. We ask, is victory worth the price? You ask different question, is surrender acceptable? And often you decide it's not, regardless of mathematics. This is terrifying because it cannot be modeled, cannot be negotiated with, cannot be contained through logical deterrence. The screen showed more historical battles. Siege of Leningrad. 872 days. Millions dead. City never surrendered. Battle of Stalingrad. Urban warfare. Building-to-building fighting. Neither side would quit. Iwo Jima. Tiny island. 5 weeks of combat. 26,000 casualties. Pattern consistent across your history. When cornered, when outnumbered, when defeat is certain, humans often choose to fight anyway. And fighting humans who have chosen death over surrender creates casualties that make victory Pyrrhic. Concordance cannot accept Pyrrhic victories. Our species are old, population stable, growth rates low. We cannot replace casualties at human rates. You can. You do. Population rebounds within generation. Which means, even if we win battle, we lose war. Because you will try again. And again. And again. Until you win or we quit. And we will quit because resource depletion forces it. You won't quit because emotion overrides resource calculation. I sat with that for a long moment. The clinical assessment of humanity as unkillable through stubbornness. But Dr. Chen, even these traits, persistence hunting, pack bonding, innovation drive, emotional combat capacity, even all of these combined are not the final reason for Code Crimson classification. What makes you truly terrifying is the paradox. The contradiction at your core that makes you impossible to categorize. You are simultaneously the most compassionate and most violent species we have observed. And we cannot predict which you will be. The screen split. 2 feeds running simultaneously. Left side, Doctors Without Borders. Humans traveling into war zones to heal strangers. Charity organizations. Billions donated annually to help people donors will never meet. Animal welfare groups. Endangered species protection programs. International disaster relief. Right side, genocides. Rwanda, 1994. 800,000 dead in 100 days. The Holocaust. 6 million. Armenian genocide. Holodomor. Killing fields of Cambodia. Slave trade. Torture documentation from multiple eras. Same species. Often same time periods. Sometimes same individuals. The paradox footage continued. Human soldier commits war crime in morning, rescues enemy wounded in afternoon. Scientist builds hospital, then designs bioweapon. Parents who love their children support policies that harm other parents' children. Individuals who weep at fictional suffering ignore real suffering of neighbors. 7 Theta, 9's telepathic voice carried genuine confusion. We cannot build psychological profiles that account for this. Your capacity for both extremes exists simultaneously in each individual. And we cannot predict activation triggers. Most species in concordance occupy narrow moral behavioral range. My species, for example, varies perhaps 15 to 20% in ethical decision-making across all individuals. We are consistently cooperative, risk-averse, communal. Humans vary 100%. From Mother Teresa to Adolf Hitler. From Carl Sagan to Joseph Mengele. Same species. Same genetic baseline. Same brain structure. Incomprehensible variance. The screen showed more contrasts. Voyager golden record. Music, greetings, images sent into space as invitation. Next to it, weaponization of space. Satellite destroying missiles. Strategic defense plans. You send music into the cosmos as greeting. Also weaponize orbital space for combat. Both actions by same species within same decade. Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Noble aspirations for dignity, equality, freedom. Next to it, ongoing human trafficking. Modern slavery. Exploitation continuing despite legal prohibitions. You write beautiful documents declaring everyone deserves freedom. Also maintain systems of exploitation. Contradiction unresolved. International Space Station. Cooperation between nations. Next to it, proxy wars. International conflicts. Arms sales. You achieve unprecedented scientific cooperation. Also engage in tribalistic violence. Simultaneously. This means, we cannot negotiate with humanity. We can only negotiate with individual humans. And individual humans contradict themselves across contexts. Same person who advocates peace might support war if properly motivated. Person who values life might kill if threatened. Pacifist might become warrior if loved ones endangered. I found myself nodding, recognizing the truth. We are contradictions. From inside your species, you call this complexity, nuance, situational ethics. From outside, it is chaos. Beautiful, terrifying chaos. You are the only species we have encountered that. Creates art celebrating peace while perfecting weapons, sends messages of goodwill while preparing for conflict, or achieves global cooperation on some issues while warring over others, loves across all boundaries while also engaging in genocidal hatred. Your duality is complete. And it makes you impossible to classify as ally or threat. You are both. Depending on context, moment, individual, trigger. 7θ9 paused, and I felt weight in the telepathic silence. This is why concordance passed resolution 8847 θ 73 years ago. After you split the atom and demonstrated capacity for planetary self-destruction. The resolution established quarantine protocols. And the debate before the vote was intense. The screen changed. What looked like parliamentary proceedings. Alien architecture. Beings of different morphologies gathered in vast chamber. 847 species voted. The question, what do we do about humans? 7θ9's telepathic voice took on a formal quality, as if reciting recorded history. The debate lasted 6 months. Your time. 847 species. Arguments on all sides. Let me share the major positions. The screen showed what appeared to be translated transcripts. Faction 1, immediate intervention. Humans have achieved nuclear capability. Will destroy themselves within decades. We have ethical obligation to intervene, prevent extinction, guide them to maturity. Counterargument, intervention violates concordance first principle. Sapient species have right to self-determination, even if that determination leads to self-destruction. We cannot save species from themselves without destroying their sovereignty. Faction 2, hostile containment. Humans are death-world apex predators developing weapons technology exponentially. They will achieve interstellar capability within 500 years. We must contain them now. Disable their technology. Force permanent pre-spacefaring status. Counterargument, forcible containment of sapient species violates concordance charter. Creates justification for future hostile action by contained species. If we attack unprovoked, we become aggressors. Humans would be justified in retaliation when they eventually achieve parity. Faction 3, observation quarantine. We neither intervene to save them nor attack to contain them. We observe. We wait. We establish protocols. No contact, no engagement, no provocation. Let them mature naturally or destroy themselves naturally. But we watch. And if they achieve interstellar capability without self-destructing, we reassess. The screen showed voting results. Final vote: 722 species voted for observation quarantine. 94 voted for immediate intervention. 31 voted for hostile containment. Resolution 8847 theta passed. The text of the resolution appeared on screen in English translation. Resolution 8847 theta. Earth Quarantine Protocols. Status: Code Crimson, Extreme Hazard Species. Rationale: species Homo sapiens exhibits Class 12 Deathworld apex predator traits combined with unstable emotional volatility, exponential technological acceleration, pack bonding pathology, persistence predator psychology, and demonstrated capacity for both extreme compassion and extreme violence. Combination of traits creates prediction impossibility. Action: observe only. No contact. No intervention. No provocation. Specific protocols: maintain surveillance distance minimum 3 light hours. 0 direct contact with any human individual or institution. No technology transfer under any circumstances. No interference with human technological development. No interference with human self-destructive behaviors. Intervene only if human action threatens non-Earth concordance assets. Duration: until species achieves confirmed interstellar capability or self-destructs. Review: mandatory review every 50 Earth years. Compliance: mandatory for all concordance species. Violation punishable by expulsion from concordance and species-level sanctions. I read it twice. We've been quarantined for 73 years. And we never knew. You've been watching us this entire time. Continuously. Satellites disguised as natural phenomena. Observation posts on your moon. Far side where you don't look. Probe networks in your asteroid belt and Kuiper belt. We watch everything. Governments know. Some suspect. Your classified documents contain speculation about unidentified aerial phenomena and non-human intelligence. But no proof. We ensure no proof. Until now. Why now? Why are you telling me? 7 theta, 9's telepathic presence intensified. Because the quarantine is failing. And you need to understand what you are before you discover it through conflict. The screen changed. Recent satellite imagery. Military installations. Radio telescopes. Space programs. In the last decade, your surveillance technology has improved exponentially. Your astronomers are detecting anomalies we can no longer fully mask. Your military is tracking objects that defy your physics. Your civilian population is recording phenomena we cannot explain away. Conservative concordance analysis. Within 10 to 20 years, you will have undeniable proof of non-human intelligence observing Earth. Disclosure is inevitable. When that happens, 2 scenarios become probable. Scenario A. Humanity reacts with hostility. Demands answers. Accelerates military space development. Interprets observed quarantine as threat. Enters galaxy as aggressive newcomer seeking confrontation. Result: war. Multiple species versus humanity. Billions dead across multiple worlds. Possible human extinction despite your advantages. Possible concordance collapse even if humans defeated because cost is unsustainable. Scenario B. Humanity reacts with understanding. Asks why we hid. We explain. You terrified us. Humanity gains self-awareness as feared species. Chooses consciously how to proceed from that knowledge. Result: negotiated first contact. Humanity enters concordance as equals. Potential for unprecedented alliance. Or conscious isolation if you choose. But choice made from knowledge, not ignorance. I volunteered to enable scenario B. I felt the weight of it. One being risking everything to give humanity information. What happens to you? I return to concordance. Face judgment for violating quarantine protocols. Likely exile. Possibly termination depending on council mood. And you're willing to accept that? Dr. Chen, I have studied your species for 6 years before volunteering for this assignment. I watched your wars, your atrocities. I also watched your art, your music, your acts of incomprehensible kindness. I read your literature, Shakespeare, Dostoevsky, Toni Morrison. I studied your philosophy, Kant, Confucius, Simone de Beauvoir. And I concluded, you are the most dangerous species in the galaxy, but also the most alive. You feel more, create more, strive more than species that have existed for millions of years. Do I fear you? Yes. Do I respect you? More than you can imagine. Do I believe you can choose to be more than your worst impulses? That is why I'm here. But there is immediate danger beyond theoretical future first contact. My attention sharpened. What danger? Your governments are about to do something catastrophically stupid, and I need your help to stop it. The screen changed. Classified documents. Technical specifications. Timeline. 3 weeks from now, your military plans to broadcast a message into deep space. Intentional signal. High-powered. 50 gigawatt transmission. Designed to reach 387 star systems within 50 light-years. I recognized some of the documentation. Project Omega. I'd heard rumors. They call it Initiative Omega, calling the stars. Public narrative, scientific outreach, peaceful contact attempt. Reality, signal is aggressive in composition. Written by military strategists, not diplomats. It essentially broadcasts, we know you're out there. We demand response. We are armed. We are unafraid. We will not be ignored. The transmission draft appeared on screen. I read it. Felt sick. It wasn't a greeting. It was a challenge. To most concordant species, this will sound like declaration of hostile intent. Especially coming from a Code Crimson quarantine species. It violates every protocol of first contact etiquette. Current Concordance Council debate. Do we allow signal? Do we jam it? Do we respond with force to protect concordance from perceived threat? 647 species have voted for preemptive strike against Earth's communication infrastructure. Destroy your satellites. Cripple your deep space transmission capability. Ensure signal cannot broadcast. That would be an act of war. From their perspective, it's defensive action. Your signal is the provocation. Only because quarantine remains technically in effect have they not acted. But if that signal broadcasts, quarantine is considered violated by Earth. Concordance interprets it as Code Crimson species breaking containment aggressively. Hardliners will push for military containment action. Surgical strike. Target your satellites, maybe your launch facilities. Cripple your space capability for 50 to 100 years. And how do you think humanity responds to attack from unknown source? I knew the answer. Maximum retaliation. Exactly. You don't know who attacked. You assume hostile aliens. You respond with every weapon you have. Nuclear arsenal launched at any detected non-Earth object. Escalation becomes uncontrollable. Galactic war begins. All because of badly worded message written by military strategists who don't understand they're provoking species that have been deliberately avoiding you for 73 years. How do we stop it? I need you to 1. Alert your scientific community. 2. Pressure governments to cancel or completely revise the message. 3. Explain that extraterrestrial intelligence exists but has been observing under quarantine. 4. Make clear that aggressive contact attempts will be interpreted as hostile. 5. Buy time for proper diplomatic contact preparation. You have 73 hours before my absence is noted by concordance. In that time, I will transfer all evidence files to your systems. Enough proof to convince others. Footage of concordance worlds. Records of surveillance. Council proceedings with translation. Technology demonstrations. Everything you need to make the case. They'll think I'm insane. They will until they see evidence. Which is why I'm giving you irrefutable proof. Not testimony. Data. Verifiable, testable data. Technology samples. Materials not found on Earth. Isotope ratios impossible by solar system formation models. Enough physical evidence that debunking becomes impossible. And if I fail? If the signal broadcasts anyway? 7 Theta 9's telepathic presence became grave. Then I return to concordance. And I recommend Scenario 7, Containment Protocol Omega. Earth is isolated behind energy barrier. Nothing in, nothing out. You are left alone indefinitely. You do not join the galaxy. You remain quarantined until your species either matures over thousands of years or destroys itself trying to break containment. A cage you cannot see but cannot escape. You would live normal lives for generations, never knowing you're imprisoned. Only when you achieve interstellar capability would you discover the barrier. And by then, centuries would have passed. Other concordant species would have advanced further. You would enter galaxy permanently behind, permanently disadvantaged. Is that what you want for humanity? Let me show you what humanity could become. Both paths. The choice you face. The screen activated. Vision technology. Not footage, but simulation based on probability models. Earth. 150 years future. Cities gleaming. Technology advanced. FTL capability achieved. But humanity emerging into galaxy with chip on shoulder. We were quarantined. Hidden from. Treated like danger. And we lean into it. Human ships spreading through nearby systems. Not exploring. Conquering. Resource extraction without negotiation. Colonies established on worlds already inhabited by less technologically advanced species. Concordance responds with sanctions. Humans ignore them. Military confrontations. Humans win initial engagements through unpredictability, emotional combat tactics, refusal to surrender. But cost is enormous. Billions dead across multiple species. Eventually, concordance unites. 847 species versus humanity. We fight brilliantly. We terrify them. We win battles through sheer stubbornness. But mathematics catches up. We cannot replace losses fast enough. Attrition warfare against coalition of 847 species. Final scene, Earth, 300 years future. Human population reduced to scattered colonies. Permanently contained through overwhelming force. Technological development crippled. Species broken not through defeat but through endless conflict that drained everything. We survived, but became exactly what they feared. And paid the price for it. Earth, same 150-year timeline. Same technology advancement. But humanity enters galaxy with self-awareness. We know we're feared. We know why. And we choose to subvert expectations. First contact. Diplomatic. We understand we terrify you. Here's why we terrify ourselves too. We contain both extremes, violence and compassion. We're choosing compassion. Consciously. But we need your help to maintain that choice. Concordant species, shocked by honesty, respond cautiously. Humans offer unique capabilities. Persistence problem-solving. We solve impossible problems. Pack bonding. We form alliances across species barriers. Emotional resilience. We survive catastrophic setbacks. Innovation drive. We advance technology through failures others avoid. Humanity becomes concordance's impossible problem specialists. Galactic crisis that logical species cannot solve? Call humans. They'll try anyway. Species that cannot communicate? Humans pack bond with them. Establish relationship. Dangerous research other species avoid? Humans volunteer because we're already from Deathworld. 200 years future. Humanity is concordance's most valued member. Not through dominance. Through unique contribution. We're still feared. But fear mixed with respect, gratitude, alliance. Human colonies across galaxy, yes. But cooperative, not conquering. And Earth, center of human culture, becomes pilgrimage site for concordant species wanting to understand what Deathworld produces. Both paths possible. Both probable. Choice determines which becomes real. Dr. Chen, I cannot choose for you. Cannot choose for humanity. That would violate sovereignty. But I can give you information to make informed choice. You are dangerous. Both paths acknowledge that. Question is, dangerous to whom? Do you use your traits as weapons against the galaxy, or as tools to serve it? You contain both possibilities. Which you activate is choice. The simulations faded. We sat in silence. Or rather, I Saturday. He stood motionless in containment chamber. Why me specifically? I observed you for 6 months before arranging capture. You are a senior enough to be credible, a scientific enough to evaluate evidence objectively, isolated enough, divorced, estranged from family, to have nothing to lose professionally or personally, persistent enough. 20+ years waiting for this moment, to see this through despite resistance, and most importantly, you asked. Not demanded. Why won't you communicate? Curiosity, not aggression. Approach matters. You represent best of human traits. Persistence without hostility. Curiosity without arrogance. Isolation that created dedication rather than bitterness. If I can convince you, you can convince others. Credibility cascades. 72 hours later. I didn't sleep those 73 hours. Couldn't. 7 theta, 9 transferred terabytes of data. Evidence. Files. Technology samples. Isotope analyses. Material science impossibilities. Footage of concordance worlds. Council proceedings with translation software. Hour 6. I verified authenticity personally. Multispectral analysis. Quantum signatures. This wasn't fabrication. Couldn't be. We don't have technology to fake quantum entanglement signatures in data storage. Hour 12. I contacted Dr. Marcus Webb, facility director. You need to see this. Now. His first response, concern for my mental health. 73 hours without sleep observing alien. Possible psychological break. Then he saw the data. Hour 24, emergency crisis team assembled. Top scientists from multiple disciplines. Military advisors. Intelligence analysts. Everyone expected hoax, mass delusion, elaborate test. Then they analyzed physical samples 7 theta 9 had provided. Materials with isotope ratios impossible by solar system formation models. Crystalline structures that couldn't form under Earth conditions. Technology components that demonstrated principles with their eyes but never achieved. Hour 36, unanimous conclusion. Real. Not hoax. Not human origin. Hour 48, emergency contact with Joint Chiefs. Civilian government oversight. National security implications. Hour 60, Initiative Omega placed on indefinite hold pending full analysis. Hour 72, my final conversation with 7 theta 9 before his departure. I returned to observation room. He stood exactly as before. Waiting. I've done what you asked. Signal is delayed. Full review ordered. But I need to know, was everything you showed me real? The simulations. The fear. The threat level assessment. Every word. Every image. Concordance truly fears you. And you? Personally. Do you fear us? Long pause. Longer than any previous response. I sensed consideration, weighing of words. Dr. Chen, I have studied your species for 6 years before volunteering for this assignment. I watched your wars, your genocides, your cruelty. I also watched your art, your music, your acts of incomprehensible kindness to strangers and other species. I read your literature, Shakespeare's understanding of human nature, Dostoevsky's exploration of suffering and redemption, Toni Morrison's excavation of trauma and resilience. I studied your philosophy, Kant's categorical imperative, Confucius's ethics of relationship, Simone de Beauvoir's examination of freedom and responsibility. I watched your children, how you teach them, how you love them, how you sacrifice for their futures. And I concluded, you are the most dangerous species in the galaxy, but also the most alive. You feel more, create more, strive more, love more than species that have existed for millions of years. Do I fear you? Yes, absolutely. Your capacity for violence is unmatched. Do I respect you? More than you can imagine. Your capacity for beauty is equally unmatched. Do I believe you can choose to be more than your worst impulses? That is why I'm here. Because I believe you're capable of that choice. And choice is the only power that truly matters. What happens to you now? I return. Face concordance judgment. Violated quarantine deliberately. Provided advanced technology samples. Made direct contact. Likely penalty, exile from concordance. Possibly termination depending on how council interprets my actions. Was it worth it? Ask me in 100 years, when humanity enters concordance as equals rather than invaders. If that happens, every consequence I face was worth it. But Dr. Chen, understand, I cannot force the outcome. Cannot guarantee your species makes the right choice. I can only provide information. What humanity does with it is your collective decision. I understand. One final gift. He gestured. A small device materialized on the floor of the containment chamber. Security alarms triggered immediately. But 7 theta 9 telepathically conveyed, medical technology. Translation matrix. Diagnostic tool. Proof of good faith. Study it. Reverse engineer it if you can. Or don't. But it demonstrates that some of us want partnership, not conflict. Then the departure process began. Same materialization in reverse. Solid form becoming translucent, then vapor, then nothing. Final telepathic message, fading like echo. Dr. Chen. Tell them what they are. But more importantly, tell them what they could be. Choice is the only power that matters. Use it wisely. Then gone. Completely. Security swept the chamber. Found the device. Nothing else. No trace of 7 theta 9's presence beyond what he chose to leave. Recording devices had been scrubbed clean during the 73 hours. Only my testimony. The data files. The physical evidence. And the burden of choice. If this story resonated deeply with you, if you find yourself questioning what humanity truly is and what we could become, there is a resource that goes deeper than a single video can reach. Reconnecting with your divine essence is for those who feel called to explore not just what makes humans powerful, but what makes us whole. This book facilitates the deeper journey, the one that takes you beyond understanding humanity's place in a cosmic order and into understanding your individual place within that larger pattern. What this book helps you discover. Understanding your place in a larger cosmic order. Not as isolated individual, but as expression of something vast and purposeful. Recognizing the divine spark within that gives humanity its unique fire. The same force that makes us terrifying to advanced civilizations is the force that makes us capable of transcendent love and creation. Dissolving limiting beliefs about human limitations. If we're capable of terrifying the galaxy, what else are we capable of that we've convinced ourselves is impossible? Accessing the creative, resilient, paradoxical nature that defines us. Learning to hold both saint and monster within yourself consciously, choosing which to activate moment by moment. Choosing consciously who you will become. Not reacting to circumstances, but creating yourself deliberately from the infinite possibilities within. Link in the first pinned comment below this video. For those ready to claim their full nature, predator and priest, warrior and artist, feared and beloved. For those ready to make the choice 7 theta 9 came to enable. 6 months later. My testimony, combined with irrefutable evidence, led to Initiative Omega postponed indefinitely. Message completely rewritten by diplomatic team, linguists, philosophers. If it broadcasts, and that's still debated, it will be invitation for dialogue. Not demand. Not challenge. New protocol established. First Contact Preparedness Committee formed. Scientists, diplomats, ethicists, philosophers. No military leadership. Approach matters. Controlled disclosure initiated. 2-year timeline to gradually inform public about probability of extraterrestrial intelligence observing Earth. Avoiding panic. Building understanding. My life changed. Leading first contact research now. Government position, but civilian oversight. Consultations with international bodies. And something unexpected, Emily, my daughter, reached out after the public announcement. We talked for hours. First real conversation in years. Shared the experience. Brought us together through understanding that we're part of something larger than our personal disconnection. Family healing through cosmic perspective. But the question remains for all of us. What do we do with the knowledge that the galaxy fears us? 7 Theta 9 gave us a mirror. Made us see ourselves from outside. And what we saw. We are apex predators who never stop pursuing goals. We are pack bonders who love across all species boundaries. We are innovators who solve impossible problems through spite and stubbornness. We are warriors who refuse defeat even when death is mathematically certain. We are paradoxes who contain both saints and monsters, often in the same individual. We are deathwelders who learned to dream. We are creatures of chaos who create transcendent beauty. And 7 Theta 9 asked the only question that matters. What will you choose to be? Because we have options. Option 1. Use fear as power. Lean into being the apex predator. Become the dominant force we're biologically capable of being. Take our place at the top of galactic hierarchy through strength. That path is available. It's in our nature. We could do it. Option 2. Use our unique gifts for cooperation. Offer our persistence as problem-solving capacity. Our pack bonding as bridge between species. Our emotional resilience as strength in crisis. Our innovation drive as solution to impossible challenges. Become the unexpected allies no one saw coming. The deathwelders who chose partnership. That path is also available. Also in our nature. We could do that too. Option 3. Stay isolated. Never risk. Never reach the stars. Safe but small. Limited but secure. Refuse the choice entirely. But here's the truth 7 Theta 9 didn't explicitly state but implied in everything. The galaxy doesn't need another logical, cautious, predictable species. It has 1,847 of those. They've been doing logical and cautious for millions of years. What the galaxy needs, whether it knows it or not, is exactly what makes us terrifying. Our refusal to accept impossible. Our capacity to love the unlovable. Our paradoxical nature that holds compassion and strength simultaneously. Our persistence that never quits. Our creativity that turns failures into breakthroughs. Our emotional depth that makes us unpredictable but also makes us alive. The traits that make us dangerous are the same traits that make us capable of unprecedented greatness. We are deathwelders who write poetry. Apex predators who create art. Monsters who choose mercy. Warriors who fight for peace. Paradoxes walking. And that paradox, that ability to be both extremes and choose between them consciously, that's not weakness. That's the ultimate power. Because a species that can only be good is programmed, not moral. A species that can only be evil is broken, not choosing. But a species that can be either, that contains both possibilities, and consciously chooses the better path moment by moment, that's the species that changes galaxies. 7 Theta 9 risked exile to give us self-awareness. Now the question is, what do we do with it? The galaxy is watching. Has been watching for 73 years. Waiting. Afraid. Uncertain. But maybe fear isn't the end of the story. Maybe it's the beginning. Maybe a species that terrifies the galaxy through our sheer unpredictable intensity is exactly what the galaxy needs to wake up, to change, to evolve beyond safe patterns maintained for millions of years. Maybe we're not the nightmare. Maybe we're the alarm clock. The signal hasn't broadcast yet. But it will. Someday. When we're ready. When we've made our choice about who we want to be when we introduce ourselves. And when it does, they'll be listening. The question is, what will we say? What will we choose to be? Because we are what nightmares dream of. But we're also what hope dreams of. And the choice between those two possibilities is ours. Every day. Every moment. Every decision. You feel empty sometimes? Disconnected? Like something's wrong with the world? It's not your fault. You're a death welder trying to live in the safe civilization your ancestors built. Your biology screams for challenges that modern life doesn't provide. For pack bonds that social media can't create. For persistence hunts that desk jobs don't satisfy. That restlessness? That feeling that you're capable of more? You are. We all are. We're the species that terrifies the galaxy. That power doesn't go away in peacetime. It just needs different expression. The galaxy fears us. Now you know why. What you do with that knowledge, that's your choice. Will you be the predator? The protector? Both? Will you use your persistence to solve impossible problems? Will you use your pack bonding to build bridges? Will you use your emotional depth to create beauty? Or will you use all of it for conquest? The choice isn't made once. It's made every day, in every action, every relationship, every challenge you face. You are not here by chance. You found this story because some part of you already knew. Humanity is more than it appears. More dangerous. More beautiful. More capable. More alive. The galaxy fears us. Now you understand why. What we do with that understanding, whether we become the monsters they fear or the allies they need, that choice belongs to us. To you. Personally. Every single day. If this resonated, leave a comment below. What will you choose? Predator? Protector? The paradox that contains both? Subscribe for more stories that reveal hidden truths about humanity's place in the cosmos. Share this if you think others need to understand what we are. Remember, you are a death welder. Act like it. That's all until the next story.